Hey, GD Talbot here. Gonna do this is a second video for today, so you wonder why I'm still in the same coat and same area. I just wanted to do a second video because I wanted to talk about a lot of the misconceptions that have been happening, not just since the 2020 election, but also I want to talk about why is the left making pushing narratives about religion and politics. This is something that's been bothering me for a while, and if anybody who's been hasn't been born in the last couple of years, you would have an understanding that when like Obama ran, he's going to heal the soul of America. He was pushed as the savior. What? No, he was just a politician. Really, that's all he was. And he wasn't even a good politician. His international policy. Oh, the Republicans called that one when that guy got elected. He would be great, stay at home because he was very charming the way he spoke to people, but he would be horrible internationally. Yeah, he was. You can agree, disagree. I don't care. This is my opinion, but he was referred to as saving the soul, and people like talked about that a lot. Oh, you're saving? No, he actually probably the greatest divides, especially racially, happened under Obama. Like I'm not sure why you get this "he's a savior" thing, and you saw when Obama, like near the end, like we didn't notice it. Biden was being projected as he's going to come save America, the savior. What? They even, if you notice, when they were doing the office of the president-elect, never existed before, but now we have all these voters out here that thinks it's a real thing. They actually had a circle in it and behind him, and it made a halo over Biden's head. I'm like, seriously, like, what are you getting at? What are you saying this? But I think the other thing that bothers me is like today someone was going, oh, they're coming after Cuomo for sexually assaulting. Yeah, like you guys cared. Trump said grab him by the pussies. What? And then the guy in his remarks, because you're savior Trump, you call what? Like I still haven't met a single Trump supporter who acts like they're in a cult and or thinks Trump is the savior of the United States. Like I still haven't met one yet. I'd love to. If you're a Trump supporter and you disagree with me and you think he's the savior of the world or the United States, come argue with me. I'd like to see this. I'm a Trump supporter. I don't think Trump is a demigod or a god. I don't know why. And honestly, the only people who say this are people on the left. I understand. I really think this goes back to 2016 and how insane the left acted for 4 years. They need something to hang on to so they know their actions aren't bad. So they can say, see, you're just as bad. That doesn't make you good. Like, I don't understand this logic at all. So, yeah, I still don't get this push of, well, you think Trump's a savior, so Cuomo should be allowed to sexually assault people. What? Like, huh? And this is the same person who'll say, I guarantee you, they haven't yet, but I guarantee you, pushing this conversation long enough, they'll say how they're for women. No, you're for women if it means accusations that can get Democrats into power. You're not for women. Because if you're for women, you would stand by the women and give them equal time in the news that are going after Cuomo. How about the ones that accuse Biden of sexual assault? No, they weren't allowed to have equal time in the news, were they? No. So the left, when you say you care about women, no, you're lying sacks of crap. You don't. Me, I'd say let the people talk, see how it's worked out. Never once when people, and I'm going to say falsely accused because no evidence actually came of it, never once did I say don't let them talk. In fact, I said the exact opposite. Let them talk. Let's hear it. But it's amazing if you accuse someone on the left, accuse a Democrat, shh, you got to be silenced. We got to get power. Yeah. If you think Democrats care about women, you're an idiot. I'm sorry. That's just all there is to it. And you can tell by this person in their religion, you're in a cult. How am I in a cult? Literally, few hundred people stormed the Capitol. Yes, and it was done and over with in 2 hours. It was mob violence and it was wrong. I called it out immediately. Just like I called out Black Lives Matter and Antifa when they do mob violence. Immediately. I'm against all mob violence. You can put them all in prison together. I won't shed a tear. I don't care. The problem is you need mob violence to be okay for you. That's the difference. I oppose all of it. And let me tell you something. If you think trying to equate a few hundred people, Trump supporters, as what, 64, 65 million Trump supporters and their families? Yeah, whatever. You've gone off the deep end. It is ridiculous. And we're not in a cult. And I've talked about this numerous times. Trump lost in 2020, and I said I was disappointed. I didn't scream at the night sky. I didn't rub blood on my face. I didn't dress up like a sex organ and start chanting through the streets, did I? The problem is, you people on the left who vote Democrat, you're in a cult. At least you act like you're in a cult. Me on the right, I just said, okay, I'm disappointed, but it's not the first time I voted for someone who didn't win. I mean, it's not the end of the world. It's life. And because 90% of Trump supporters and people who vote Republican have the same attitude, you people have just lost it. Because you got to remember, 1 million people were in Washington, D.C. that day. A few hundred stormed into the building. Even people who stormed up to the building who refused to go in were trying to stop the people who actually went inside. Yes, the mass majority of Americans think those few hundred people were in the wrong. The mass majority of us want them to go to prison. Problem is, you don't want Black Lives Matter and Antifa to go to prison. You don't know what equality is, just like the Democratic Party doesn't. So one more thing I want to go over, and just to touch base, because we're talking about politics, is fascism. Fascism is not right-leaning politics. Never has been. Only in the last couple of years have people trying to get this definition changed. In fact, the most well-known fascist regime in human history were Nazis during World War II. Socialists, left-leaning politics. Does that mean you have to be left-leaning politics to be a fascist? No. It actually has nothing to do with left or right-leaning. Of course, this is another agenda to push that somehow if you believe in capitalism, you support the Constitution, that somehow you're a horrible human being. It's just the nonsense, the idioticness is just getting out of control. So just for me to recap that one more time, because I know there's people out there that are going to freak out. Fascism has nothing to do with left or right leaning politically. This is true. In fact, if you're right leaning politically, you're less likely to be a fascism, because fascists hate freedom of speech. They hate freedom of expression. They hate freedom of religion. They want everything controlled by the government and a dictatorship. I don't care what you say. I don't care how you want to change the definition. This is a fact. If you lean to the right politically, you're more likely to support these things. You're more likely to be like me. I am more than happy. I've actually stood up for people with opposite opposing views of mine because other people told them to shut up. And I said, no, you shut up. Or at least take your turn. Let them speak. If you want to shame, intimidate, threaten, or commit violence against somebody to make them speak the way you want, or worse, vote the way you want, like the Democratic Party's been supporting Antifa and Black Lives Matter doing this, yes, you're the fascist, not me. I'll fight for you to peacefully protest. I don't care how much I disagree with you. As long as you do not commit violent mob violence, I will back you up. Hell, I even know people have opposing views from me and see them protesting and will stop and say, I want to listen to you. That's not a negative. It's saying, here, let us have discourse. Let us talk. It's your side that only wants one voice heard. And authoritarianism, like fascist people, only want one narrative heard. So if you vote Democrat because you only want one narrative heard, maybe you need to examine yourself and maybe review World War II and the Nazis, especially their brown shirts. So I'm GD Talbot. If you're out and about today, say something kind to someone, especially in retail. Kind words spread joy. And I'm out. Bye.